Holy crap, I'm so exhausted with Bally's. So I had to take a break from the other $6 million man over there. Okay, I gotta chime this out to dig back into Bobby Orr's power play. So I had received a playfield from a guy. Oh, geez Louise. Games and games and games and games. Got a playfield sent over by a guy. I've had it for about maybe a month. I don't know, something like that. He had a used playfield. I had the playfield that I had. His, obviously was far from perfect, but respectable. The one I had was this one. So I took a break from that $6 million man to jump over and swap this thing out. So this is how bad this power playfield was. Bad enough it was actually popping out some of the inserts. It's like this one here. I just by taking the playfield out at some point when I was moving across the floor, it popped that guy out. So I'm sure there's some others I could just push on and they'd pop right out of there. But yeah, I mean it's just through, and then some of this stuff somebody tried to touch up, especially like up here. Just a really just thrashed, just so thrashed. Obviously, you can still tell it's Bobby Orr's. It's not like some, Williams space shuttles and stuff where the whole middle's missing, or Comet or whatever. So you can tell what it is. It is not good. So I swapped that over. I think I'm on about the fourth day of fussing with it. I hit it hard the first day or so, 2 days, and then I've just kind of been going through and dialing things in for the last couple of nights, couple hours here and there. So I've got this guy put back together. Pretty much used everything that was on the other one. I didn't, redo like the power rail or anything like that. I reused what was there. I did swap Yopsicle LEDs in because that's kind of the way I do things now on these Ballys. And some bendy LEDs underneath the star rollovers. The star rollers that were in this playfield, though, they were destroyed. They are kind of... There really wasn't much to gain from trying to reuse the old ones. This is about as good as they got. That center is just flayed out like that. And some are even worse than that. Some are a little bit, not really better, but different. So these, I heated them up, popped them out, and the new ones fit right in. I didn't have to sand on them or do anything. Sometimes when you do inserts, when you replace inserts, you got to sand them, or they've got manufacturers' serial number, or not serial, but product numbers and things like that. You have to sand off and then buff them smooth and clear coat them. Didn't have to do that. They dropped right in, so I just added a little bit of the epoxy glue or whatever on the edges, set those in there, touched up the blacks with the paint marker. Can move on from there, so those are all good. If I turn all the lights on, there we go. It does have a few socketed bulbs in here. The credit, that's a socketed bulb. The two that sneak underneath, they flank this up post. Those are a couple of bendy LEDs mounted sideways underneath there. I think that's it. I think all the rest, well, yeah, these are all these, any of these star rollovers are all bendies. And then the rest are all Yopsicles. So these star rollovers, they're brand new, but they're kind of finicky when you put the actual star back into the middle. I think I only had like one of them that popped back up as normal. This one's still got a little bit of a fight to it. But I found that taking a X-Acto blade, just like a blade pencil, and getting in there and scraping towards the center, not the outer area, but just scraping towards the center and just kind of notching that center, that takes care of it. The rest of these are all good. I just noticed this one's kind of sticky. So yeah, if you're swapping these out, or maybe even brand new, if you're reusing the old insert portion, you're just putting in new star pieces, you might have to do the same, or maybe before you put it in, kind of notch out the where the two sides of each one of these meet, just right in that crevice. So I'll do that one a little bit more and get that taken care of. I did swap out all of the star posts from red translucent to clears, just to help spread the light around and lighten things up a lot more. The red's fine, but I like, this game's got some age to it, and so I want as much light to kind of breathe as possible, so I've got clear. It's a good look for it with the hockey theme and everything. Adds to a little bit of the red, white, and blue vibe of everything. I've got new acorn nuts on everything. These are the new pop bumper caps that I put on. I did reinforce these with some of these Lexan discs right in this area, because the ball does get a little bit kind of airborne and wild in this portion. Can't remember if there's much else. Obviously new rubber bands. It's all original plastics, not necessarily to the game. This one, the guy that gave me the playfield sent this along. He sent some others as well, but mine was snapped right here, so this is in good condition, so got that back on there. And rebuilt the flippers. There's 4 of them, so I had to redo. New stops, new plunger and links, new end of stroke switches. Put my anti-spark capacitors on there. Same with the upper flippers. Here's my bendies. I've got them kind of flanking the switch like that and facing upwards. New sleeves on everything. New drop targets. New guts on the pop bumpers. They've got new sleeves. I didn't. The yoke was okay, so I left the 2 halves of the yoke. But I've got new bodies, new bases, new skirts, and LEDs in there. So she plays really nice. It's not a very interesting game gameplay-wise. It's completely symmetrical. It's the most symmetrical of any game that I've ever owned. Not a lot to do. It has dual drop targets but no spinners. But then you get a game like Lost World over there that's got a spinner but no drop targets. I don't know, they just kind of had a budget on these things, and they said, well, instead of spinners and an extra kick out or something like that, then we'll just add more flippers, which I don't even know why you need flippers. All of these targets are completely shootable. The lanes, everything's completely shootable from the bottom. I don't understand. So they thought it was a good idea. When I was taking it apart, I did find a red opaque post up in here. So all the rest were star or translucent star post. But there's one opaque one up in there, and that's a signature thing by Greg Kamick. He's a Bally designer, did stuff from the EM days of the 70s through the 80s, and even a little bit into the 90s with like Capcom. He designed Break Shot, and that's kind of his signature thing. He's got an interesting lineage in pinball. He studied under Jim Patla? I can't remember, but he's got some winners and some losers. I don't know. His style of games is just different. Like he designed Xenon, which is a classic, but it's usually classic because of the art and the sound, and the art and the sound. It gets repetitive, but he had to be convinced by his team that it needed multi-ball. Had all that stuff, and they were saying, it needs multi-ball, and he was telling them no, and then they snuck another ball in there as a goof, like programmed it in, and everybody liked it in the team or in the play area, and so they decided to do it. So he had to be convinced of that. It just seems really kind of behind the times if you're designing a game in 1981 or whenever that was, and you think that multi-ball is a fad. Why would you need that? So he's got some winners and some losers, in my opinion. It's pinball, so it's usually all pretty good, but He also designed, like Cybernaut and, not such memorable classics, but, he did Paragon. So, he's got some dynamics to what he does. High highs and low lows, in my opinion. Cool art on a lot of his games, but just not really anything deep or worth coming back to in a lot of ways. But I digress. New scorecard, or I don't know what this card's called. It's not instructions. It's not even pricing. Anyways, new instructions, new whatever this card is. Go ahead and skip through. Back glass is really nice. I just got done putting LEDs in there, adding the resistors to the controlled lamps. So we have no flicker going on. I found that you can use... Do I have something on? Laying on? No, I don't. Sometimes if you don't hear a chime going, it's because something's leaning on it or whatever. But I think I just have something going on with that chime. So I'll have to diagnose what's going on there. But, what was I saying? Controlled lamps. Something about the controlled lamps. I don't recall. Oh, yeah, that's right. Rather than using the non-ghosting bulbs, you can just get away with the standard GI style LEDs and use the 470 ohm resistor on them. So it saves you a little bit of money. I think those are about, I don't know, 25-30 cents cheaper per bulb for that style compared to the non-ghosting ones. You can use the non-ghosting ones as well. It doesn't conflict with anything, but it saves you a little bit of money, especially when you're putting 40 of these things in the back box. Well, I guess with the controlled lamps you don't, but down throughout this I've got dozens and dozens and dozens of LEDs, so might as well use the cheaper ones. And so these are all obstacles which are taken care of. It's already built into the obstacle with the anti-flicker and all that, but on these ones here I'm saving money on each of those, so that's good. Every little bit counts. I'm pretty happy with the back box LEDs. So I think that's pretty good. Looks pretty nice. Still got plenty to do. I got my checklist, my Google Docs that I've got set up as a checklist, so I just need to update that and see where else I need to go. I need to add a free play stack onto the switch here, add my Bally badge and my coin door decal. So it's set up like that with the lamp so it illuminates here. Just go down the list of kind of everything that needs to be done. I did check the sockets on the MPU, and I can't remember how long ago it was when I last was really digging into this, because I've been waiting for a playfield. But the sockets are kind of loose, so I am gonna have to pull that MPU and redo all of those, just so I have some peace of mind that it's gonna be okay. I do want to put some plastic over these cards, keep those nice. Maybe I'll just run them through the laminator and be done with it that way. That way you don't have to worry about the plastic falling out. It'll just all come out as one. I did put some slingshot area Mylars on. Obviously there's wear through there, but rather than let it get worse and worse and worse, it's locked in, it's good. This is a candidate for restoration if I ever decided to get squirrely and redo it. I mean, all of this, if you can match the colors, a lot of this stuff is going to come out. There's just tiny little checks in the finish. There's also a lot of dust. But the worst of it is just in these slingshot areas, and then just some, wear areas that are typical around the pop bumpers and stuff. But it really would be a good candidate for restoration in that way. It's just you got a lot of the stuff that's ground into these colors. So these whites used to be white. Well, they're never going to be white again without totally redoing everything. So we're just going to leave it as is. It's going to be what it is, which is a classic look to a classic game. It's not going to we're not going to try and pretend that it's 50 years newer than it is. Yeah, I'm definitely missing one chime, so I'll have to find out what that is. That could be just a bad connection. That could be a bad transistor. It could be a wire snapped off. just don't know. Not much to this one. I really don't even know the rules yet. A bunch of things that raise the up post. There's a bunch of things that drop the up post. If I hit this, it raises, and if I hit any of these, it drops. If I hit this, it raises. And if I hit, oh, I thought it might just be these. Down post, it says. So as long as you avoid the center, then you keep the up post, but you know, whatever. Advance the bonus, got my 2x. Put a blue underneath this one. Extra ball is lit or qualified. Now I've got, yeah, extra ball is good. Under the special. I don't remember how I got the special set up. So anyways. Chime games are spooky because they don't have a soundboard, so you don't hear any speaker hum. So if I'm adjusting and touching things and start fussing with something for a while and I forget that it's in game mode, and then you bump something and all of a sudden it chimes at you, it's spooky because you forget that the thing's even live. Makes no noise whatsoever other than the transformer hum when the game is on, because you just don't hear that speaker hum. But that's the latest with this one. I've got my checklist of stuff to take care of and the rest of it, but the playfield I'm pretty happy with. I think I'm going to call that a day on that. Dig a little bit into electronics, do my coin door, buff some things on the inside, get some new beer seal on the lockdown bar. This game did not have a lockdown bar when I got it. This is one that I ordered off of eBay or Pinside. I think it was eBay. So that needs buffed out. New seal on there. But yeah, it's not bad. I'm way happy with that playfield. This one is abysmal. So yeah, this one looks the part of a game from the 70s, and with the LEDs, it sets it off. This one just never had a chance. So pretty cool. I'm glad I can get these things back up to respectable condition. But yeah, I don't know how much money I have into this thing by now. I'm sure it's getting a little bit close to what it's actually worth. I'll never get my time back out of it, but you know, I'm not one to really sell games for the most part. Every once in a while I get squirrely and do something, but yeah, for my tastes, this is where I want to leave it, and it plays really nice. It needs to be leveled out, but I can tell it's going to be pretty snappy. Cool, another Bally. Yeah, I'm getting a little bit exhausted with these things, but at least I've got a pretty good handle on how to approach them nowadays. Just costs money and time. What else?